Well, good morning, everybody. And it's Thursday morning. It's 10 o'clock, and we're doing WebEx. John Tyson, I'm coming to you live today from the Hershey office. Like I said a moment ago, I've decided to, why not push the envelope? My goal is to bring this on the road and do my WebExes from different locations. I'm expecting a few folks to join in from my live studio audience here in Hershey. So that could get interesting. My number one fan, Mr. Dromnock, is here somewhere, and we'll just see what that leads to. But I hope you're doing well out there this morning, and I invite a lot of questions. This one I would like to be as interactive as possible, so please be careful with your paper shuffling and conversations in the background, because I'd like some live questions as we go along today, just to make this a little more of a challenge and fun and interesting for you, because I'd like to help you get as much value out of this as possible. I know we're all struggling with, is it TouchSign, is it DocuSign, am I in the web version, am I in the iPad version? Where did it go? I'm in the new version of Zipforms, and I can't find how that old tool worked. And so I'm calling these the hidden features or the insider tips, because in responding to many of your questions, I've discovered a couple of the answers, and figured this would be the place to share them with all of you. So that is pretty much my goal for us today, is to answer those questions as we go along. Hi, guys. Like I said, today I have my live studio audience. This is hilarious. I feel like Howard Stern. Only this will be the more pleasant, clean version, just because it is. So good morning, and any thoughts or questions out there as we get started here this morning? Anybody have a wouldn't it be great if I knew how to do this kind of a question for Zipforms and DocuSign? And I don't do Java, so you're on your own. And just accept it, allow it, and God knows when we'll be done with Java and their little notices. Somebody has a question? Anybody have a question? Marie, you have something that you're dying to know on how do we do this in Zipforms and DocuSign?
No big questions. I just wanted to see what was going on here.
Well, it's so great to see you log in today. I know it hasn't been convenient for you to catch me live, so I'm just thrilled to see you pop up, kid. How's life in York?
Life's pretty good. I haven't made it to York yet this morning yet, though.
Okay, well, that's a beautiful thing about this format. So you're proving to me that this was a good idea. If you're sitting around in bunny slippers, we need a picture of those posted a little later.
You'll get them.
I knew I was asking the right person. So, like I said, I'm going to leave all the phone and lines open, so please watch the dog barking and all the noise in the background. And we've got our little group gathering here this morning. We're going to do a couple things that have turned up as requests to me over the last couple weeks. Hopefully I can answer them in a way that works for you. And please feel free to jump in here. Like I said, I've got my live studio audience, which is hilarious. But it is my goal to have a little bit of a mix of people here with me and those of you out there in the virtual space. That's why I love this particular format. If you are in Atlantic City for Triple Play in December, plan on joining me at 10 o'clock on Thursday of Triple Play, because we're going to be coming to you live from some corner of that convention space and doing our WebEx and what's awesome here at Triple Play. So I know I've already got some volunteers that are planning to meet me, some folks that are going to their first ever Triple Play. So if you're going to be one of them, just join in. I think it'll just be a hoot. Who knows what those moments are going to lead to, but we might have some guests jump in, some vendors. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think that is the epitome of this platform. And it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride depending on the connectivity that I get, because we are at the ocean. But we could be coming to you from the convention floor. We could be coming to you from, you know, a roof of a casino or from the beach. Stand by. The location is yet to be determined, but it should be some awesome information. So this morning we're going to be looking at Zipforms and Docusign and some of the little inside and outside things that I've discovered along the way. And if you're using these already, terrific. And if this is helpful to you, that's my plan. But please feel free to jump in and ask any questions that you may have. And as soon as I figure out where I am, here we go. That'll be even better. So one of the things that has that was my plan, but it didn't work out that way. So one thing I'd like to start with, I had a request, you know, how do you strike stuff out and make changes to a form when you're within, you know, within a document? So let's go to my favorite transaction. And yes, it's okay. So within DocuSign, you have the ability to highlight things or to strike them. And we're going to jump back and forth between the classic version and the new version. Hopefully you're spending time in the new version. I know not all of you have made that leap, whether it's your computer equipment or whatever it is. But it's going to work pretty much the same. So as you can see here, I have a document where I've already stricken a clause. So there's no real particular method to my madness of what I'm selecting. I'm simply demonstrating to you where something may come into play. So perhaps you have somebody that is not a fan of dual agency. Perhaps you have somebody that you want to emphasize dual agency in the listing contract. Now, I know from my presenting documents to folks, till we actually get to the paperwork, we've done the consumer notice, we've done our customer for life, and we've covered these points maybe 3-4 times. So they're about blind till you get to it for the 4th time. But these people are living in the virtual space, and I want to make sure that they understand that dual agency is a requirement for us to cover that one for them. So we're going to go up and select the highlighting tool, and then simply come down and select the text. Now, what you're going to find, this works absolutely backwards in the new version of Zipforms. So in the classic version, we select the tool. You can actually select the color that you like. So we've just highlighted something in yellow. Our next piece is going to be something in red, and that would be designated agency. And when I select that, it becomes red. In the new version, interestingly enough, you highlight the area, and then you select the tool, and it turns it red or it turns it yellow. So for whatever reason, the two work absolutely opposite, and we'll be sure to show you that in just a second. But I can go in and highlight any area. I can go in and strike out language. We've all had that customer that said, I don't want this to be part of the agreement. And whether you're working with them live or, again, in that virtual space, we can go through and select that tool and strike out items just that quickly. It's just a matter of highlighting, selecting the tool, and highlighting the text. And it's stricken. So two tools that you won't use real often, but I find it interesting that they work differently between the two versions. Another tool that maybe some of you have really enjoyed, and that is transaction information. This works really great on the cover sheet, so let's make sure I've got a PAR cover sheet as part of my library here. It's the only form, by the way, that isn't alphabetized. So if you're going looking for it and it's making you nuts, join the club. Pick this PAR library. It's the #1 form. They like it very much and want you to use it, so they made it #1. I'm going to add it to my transaction. But if you go searching for cover sheet under C, good luck. You aren't going to find it anywhere. So PAR forms, #1 form is the cover sheet. So we're simply going to select that. We're going to select transaction information. And it wants to know which position. So since it's the #1 position, it's going to be the buyer. And then you'll see the little index card or Rolodex card. If we select that, we're opening up our contacts. And since I'm not tormenting any of you with random emails, I do that to myself. I'm going to select myself and select OK. And you'll see that my information has now filled itself in on the form. So make sure we're not missing a step. We're going to save it. And now it's populated into these fields in the cover sheet. So as you build your contact base, or if you just want to speed up all of these processes, fill out the contact transaction pieces, the contact information, or import your contacts, and then you can just with 2 clicks start filling out these forms. And naturally, you typically have more than just a name and an email address. You may have my phone number and so forth because you've been building up that contact. Or you can start to fill it in on these contracts.
The owner has to renew it every year.
And so you'll be able to quickly fill in these contracts. And as you know, when it's in the cover sheet, where does it go? Well, it goes right into any form that you've selected. So it's a nice way to save a lot of keystrokes. So we've got highlighting, we've got striking out, we've got importing information. And this transaction information and adding it to a transaction, they've changed it up a little bit in the new version of Zipforms. And again, I'll show you where that one lives because it kind of stumped a few of you. And it's a nice, speedy way to do things. So let's make sure you know where to find it. Any questions from the live audience today while we're in the old version of Zipforms? Or have you all migrated to the new one?
I pretty much migrated.
I only use the new.
All right. Well, then let's, that seems to be the consensus here in the room, too. So let's jump over to the new version. I like to toggle back and forth since I get questions in both platforms. So here we are. We've stepped into the new version. Has anybody uploaded a picture to go with their transaction?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Because it makes it a little easier for me to identify the particular transaction.
Oh, great. Well, I'm sure that was the intention.
Plus, it looks pretty.
Well, you know, I keep thinking, do I want a picture of the buyer or the seller or the home? As you can see, I like lighthouses and sailboats. And so I'm just going to repeat your question. For those in the room here, someone said they are uploading the pictures. It makes it easier to identify the deal that they're working in. And that's why they came up with this graphic interface. So, yeah, it's kind of fun. I did it as a test just to see that I could do it, and uploaded my sailboat. So you can either remove it, replace it, but you can easily have an image to go with your particular transaction. And I guess this is what happens when you let the text alone. They say, well, maybe this would be fun for somebody. So maybe you have a favorite tree or an image. You can simply add it into any deal that you've got going on here. lost my boat would be a perfect one to add a boat, I'd say. And I hit it in the wrong spot. So if we click on the icon itself, it's going to bring up our transaction information. And now we can simply add that photo, and it's simply like adding a photo to the multi-list. Click on Add. It's going to bring up a browse screen, and you have access to all of your images, and you can make it whatever you'd like. So whatever works for your mind. The zip form guys, we're trying to make it easily accommodated for you. So let's go into that particular transaction, and we'll see how these tools work that we just looked at in the prior version. We'll pick on that listing contract once again. And today, we're going to go with dual agency. We'll pick on that, keep the theme alive. So now we highlight it, and we go up and select our tool. We select the color, and when we click on it, it's done. So it's working absolutely backwards to what you've done in the past. For whatever reason, they decided to do it that way. One thing I'll tell you, when you use the strikeout tool, it probably is a little quicker because we can select a couple lines of text at one time, select strikeout. Maybe this one's going to work the same. Select text first, so that's what it wanted. And we can take out those particular clauses that are causing trouble for your customer. And it's misbehaving with me today. It seems to like when I highlight backwards better than forward. It's probably a Java thing, right? But it's going to work backwards to the prior version. Transaction info. We're going to go back to our forms. And do I have that cover page? No. Now, I don't know about you, but I stared at this screen when I first started using the new version for a couple minutes before I figured out that they've moved all the forms from the left side of the screen to the right. I found that to be like really interesting that they did that. But it actually took me a couple minutes to figure it out because I kept thinking there's a way to turn these screen and menus on, and I just couldn't do it. And that's the case with a number of these things. They moved the forms from the left side to the right side. The highlighting, they've made it highlight and then select the tool as opposed to the opposite. So many of the things are operating a little backwards. Transaction info is going to be one of those things. It's right here in the middle. You've used it before. So we're going to select our transaction info, but our contact information is now here on your left-hand side, and it says index. When you select index, now you get that form that you're accustomed to seeing. So buyer 1 or tenant 1, we can make that selection. Select the card, and there's your contacts. We'll select me, save, and the information is now populated into that buyer 1 or tenant 1 section. So why they've chosen the word index, I have no idea, but you can select any position from that as you go along and have your Rolodex and go right in and add your party's information. So it's again real simple, but it seems to be hiding for whatever reason, and they moved it around, which caused a lot of confusion. So if you're using that feature, I think it's a great time saver, like we had mentioned. It's just moved to a new and different location. I guess just because they could. It gives it a new, fresh look, or it's different. I have no idea when you leave these guys alone why they do the things they do. Again, anyone keeping up there? Any questions on that one? This is not difficult, pretty straightforward. Are we doing okay? Good morning. It's okay to talk. I'm here with the shy people from Hershey. I didn't realize there actually were any. Right? Is there like a picture catalog where you just have to upload? Yeah, it's coming right from your own pictures. So if you want to add a little icon picture, it's whatever you have. And, you know, it's whatever makes sense to you. So if you want a picture of the house, you know, God bless you. If you want a picture, then absolutely just, you know, have a file or save it from the multi-list, take it from your phone, anywhere that you've got pictures you can access. Now, of course, it needs to be on a local drive, so if it's in your phone, you got to get it here or pull it out of the cloud. So a couple of you have been struggling or like the challenge of being on the road and doing everything possible from your iPad. So in staying with my mantra of the week, the only way to enjoy the view is to step to the edge. Let's go live to our iPad just for fun. And let's see what technology is going to work for us today. So if you're online, you should be seeing my cute little grandchild. She's not the cutest kid ever. So let's go take a look at our real estate file. And I guess what I'll do is begin today with Zipforms Mobile. Because in talking with a couple of you yesterday, it seems you get lost between how can I import a picture and I want to take a picture of a form that I want somebody to sign in person. Can I do that through Zipforms? Can I do that through DocuSign? Well, the answer is kind of yes and no. So if you are a Zipform online person, this is what Zipform Online will look like to you. So we can, once again, same transaction. You'll see the thumbnails appear there. So in my little test number 2, you'll see my lighthouse image. Your images are coming over. I have all of my documents. But you have the ability to, my favorite part about the online version or the mobile version of Zipforms, and this you need to pay for. It's going to cost you about $1 a month. It's not going to break the bank. But you have the ability to have somebody sign in person with you on any of these documents. So let's have a change to the listing contract. We're going to view that one. But before we open it, at the top, you'll see we have signatures. Now, if you've married your two programs together, your Zipforms and DocuSign, you have the ability of jumping right into DocuSign. But the thing I love about the mobile version of Zipforms is I can sign with TouchSign, and people think this is pretty cool. So we're going to select to sign with TouchSign. Our documents come up that we have available. What we want to do is have a change to the listing contract, so we're going to select that as yes. Top right, we're going to select next. We have our information that it's going to require. Well, we can always look up our address book, add in me. So it's got John Tice and my email address where they're going to send a confirmation, and we'll select TouchSign. The document loads in the background. There's a consent form here that says I understand I'm using electronic signatures and I agree to do so. And now we're going to scroll down. I know some of you have seen this one in the past, but we're going to scroll down to the signature line, select the pen right in the center of the screen, and we'll get the signature box. Now, pay attention because we can either sign or create an initial. Today we're signing, so we just simply sign on the line. If that's satisfactory, we're going to have them select that as their signature, and now we can move it anywhere on the form. It's a little big, so we're going to resize it, move it to a line that we like, and then select place. That signature goes right in place, and you're ready to go on. Now, I've got a thing for dates, as all of you have heard, so we're going to select date. We're going to put that onto the appropriate line, place it, and we've got a signed and dated document. As soon as we hit done, this is going to be emailed to our buyer. But there was a change up above. Now, there's actually no change to this document, but since we're in virtual space, we get to pretend. We're going to select our pen. I want to have you initial a change to the contract. So again, the box changes to a smaller format to allow for initials. I'm going to initial into space, select it, resize it, and move it wherever I think is appropriate, and we'll place it. If nothing else, this online signing has made me a better agent in that I date everything this way. So we're going to add dates. We'll just resize it, place it, and now we've got an initial and dated change to our contract. And I know from reviewing paperwork from many of you, especially some of the people in this room, we get lots of things changed and initialed. We just don't get them dated. So make sure that you're getting those dates added. This makes it the no-brainer as you're using these different forms because it's right in front of you, and it's a great reminder to me. So we've initialed and dated. We've signed and dated. Top right, we're going to hit done. We've completed our changes to the listing contract. We hit finish signing. It's going to save it and tell you that all of the forms have been emailed to the respective parties. We want to go back to the mobile version? Sure. It'll take us right back where we began. So it's this little TouchSign feature. I'd pay $1. Actually, I do pay $1 a month to use it. I do that all day long. I think that is just a powerful tool that you have the ability to do. By the way, it's you have the ability to also bring in some other PDF, or if you change things to a PDF, you have PDF files available back and forth that are, this is the live form from Zipform. No wonder we're confused. Live form in Zipform, but if you save something or received it as a PDF in this deal, it's right there ready for you to sign. Again, we can do signatures. If we want to sign with DocuSign, we'll simply make that election. We'll have it load our forms, elect the form that we'd like to sign with DocuSign, my other favorite, the reply to inspections, and we'll select next. It's telling me that I don't have an email address, so we need to edit it, so we'll simply tap it, edit it, and add that email address. So we'll add the email. We're going to save it. Name and email is a minimum that it's going to require. And my goal is to make the leap from Zipform into DocuSign through my app. It's a little slowly loading. See where it takes us. This is actually a new territory for me. Don't you love it? Don't practice in front of your customers. Just a tip. Not that I would do that. I know you wouldn't. Maybe somebody in this room might. But so this takes us actually into the full desktop version of DocuSign. It's not linking me into their app. So surprise me. I was kind of expecting to see DocuSign Inc. pop up. But you know the drill from here. So we're within DocuSign. We've got our document that we can review. There it is that we want to sign. We have our signers in the middle, so there's only one in this particular case. There's a super fun feature that allows you to sign in person with somebody. Now, it's not going to allow me to do it through this desktop version. It'll do it through digital ink, and I think that one's worth. Have you tried that one? Oh my gosh, it's awesome. So we'll show you that one in a second. So simply our document came up. Our parties are correct. Here in the lower section, we can add an email message. So please sign the attached. And we're going to select next. The form's going to pop up. If you're not a DocuSign user, the awesome thing is DocuSign within the last 3 to 4 months, probably approaching 4 months now, knows the forms that you're using. When you marry the two together, the form comes over and the placeholders are already in place for my signature and the date. Now, I don't really like where the date is located, so we're going to move it over where it belongs. He said. And now when I sign, it'll accept my signature and the date is going to fill in automatically. And we're going to send this off and it's ready to be signed by our customer. Now, if you haven't tested this one, I really recommend that you do. So most of you probably have more than one email account. So send it to yourself and see what it looks like to a consumer that's going to receive it in their email on their cell phone. Because the vast majority of your customers are out there running around just like we are. They're going to receive it on a cell phone and they can sign it on their cell phone. And I think that is just one of the really fun tools that we have available and what makes this really, really a great platform to get stuff turned around quickly. I come from the school of training where you received something, you took it out immediately. So we were out doing deals at 11 and 12 o'clock at night. Some of that is still alive today with many of you, but for many of you, you haven't done it. Time is your enemy. When you are negotiating a deal, people can think in between our conversations and signing off. One more. We have a sneezer in the background. Of all days. So anyway, when we're going to go look at the email account and see where my email came in. Anybody else get a lot of email? So I'm receiving from my agent my form, please sign the attached. I'm going to tap review. It's going to bring it up. It wants to use their current location. This is a very new feature because it's geolocating wherever your signer is when they sign off, and that's going to be a judgment call for them whether they allow it or not. I don't want anybody to know where I am most times. But I get to review the form. Sign here is at the bottom. It recognizes that I'm using a mobile device. Draw your signature. Ugh. Actually, it doesn't get any better, does it? But that's my signature for better or worse. And like it says here, when I select Adopt, we're going to be using this as an electronic signature. It moves right into place, and the date completes itself. So it's signed and dated. I simply tap Finish, and this is on its way to whoever is either next in line in the signing chain, or it's going to return back to the agent and let them know that the documents are now complete and signed. And it also gives them an opportunity that they can set up a little cloud storage here within DocuSign to save that document. It's also confirmed in their email. So however they want to view it, they have the ability, what did I just do? They have the ability of signing it, and it says, John, your document signed and completed, and now you can view and download your copy. So instantaneously, they can turn this thing around, and I think it's fantastic that we can work for the convenience of our customer and turn these things around this quickly wherever they are. So between meetings, whatever, and we have these documents back just that quickly. Final thing we'll look at is the DocuSign Inc. program itself, because here's one that I can see that you would use perhaps quite a bit as an agent on the road. We're all going more and more mobile all the time. So we select Sign and Send. It's going to ask to select a document. Now, when we add that document, we can do any number of things. But I'm with you wherever, in some mobile location. You'll see the first character is the camera. I could actually put a form in front of you or create it, scan it into here, and have you sign through my tablet. Maybe I have a document. We don't have a pen. Whatever the situation, sooner or later it's going to come up, but I could simply select the camera or select the photos because I have a document stored. Maybe there's a particular document that you use that, well, we just don't use often, or you keep it in a virtual storage place and you'd like to add it. So actually, here's a fun little form from something I just read this morning. Now, the part that I want to demonstrate to you is this is my iPad. It knows who I am. It's my digital ink account. I'm sorry, my DocuSign Inc. account. So if I select Sign Now, it assumes that I am the signer. But you'll see to the right, Add a Signer. This, I think, is just a fun little feature. So we'll select Add a Signer. It will want to know who that person is. So we're going to enter that information for them. but they are an in-person signer. They're standing right next to me. I'm going to select it as that role. You see the blue check mark. We're going to add them. And now we're going to we'll select Bob. We can add a message if we want to, and we'll top right, we'll select next. So you see at the very top center, place fields for Bob Smith. So I'm going to have Bob sign off that he has read my document. Now this would be great for maybe floor plans of a new build. Anything that is a little free form for you. So I'm simply going to drag the icon. Tap it where I'd like Bob to sign off. Naturally, I like the date. We're going to simply tap Post Signing in the top right. I'm going to tell Bob to click the yellow box, Begin Signing, when you're ready. So he can review the document. Tap Sign here. And he gets the choice to draw your signature or take a picture. Since he missed the blue signature, now we're going to do red. I just love the ability to make the change. And we have Bob sign it with his fingernail. If you have one of these $79 styluses, live it up. Fingernails are cheap, and we all have one. But you see Bob's signature now is appearing on our document, and it's been dated. Top right, we'll simply hit Finish, and he needs to confirm his signing. And now my favorite message, please pass the iPad back to John Tice, because Bob finished his piece. And this is actually a cute little line that shows up in a couple of very popular apps. People seem to get a big kick out of it. And so, you're going to see this appearing more and more and more. The developers are giving emails, receipts on online shopping, everything are starting to acquire a personality because people are starting to view these things more in a human way than ever before. So go figure. But your consumers are going to get a kick out of this, and they're going to enjoy doing business this way. It's for us to start to make those adaptations. So any questions, folks? I apologize for the blackout on the one piece, but now we're doing much better. But I know I've hit my time limit for you all. If there are any questions, comments? Well, that being the case, I want to thank you for your time. And I hope you have a terrific day. This is going to be posted so you can walk through it again. And if you had stumbled or had any hang-ups, the blacked out piece will disappear. I guess I'll have to edit this little thing to get it to you. But I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again next Thursday. And remember, join me live at Triple Play on Thursday morning at 10, or tune in if you can't be with us in Atlantic City, and promise you something fun will be coming your way. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. I appreciate everybody dropping in.